Greetings, Star Trek Fleet Commanders. I am the Angry Rhino. Please like the video and subscribe to the channel. Here we go. Getting to the later parts of my loop prioritization series. As you can see the title on the screen here. Yes, I made a Word document. I did my little note card and then I put it in a Word document. Thought that might be a little better than being in game and going through my inventory. Because I'm not going to go do these loops because it'd be a very long video unless I wanted to make 10 more videos. Not going to do that here. So this is a Word document, title up here in bold, underline, loop prioritization, main events. You know, we're done with the armadas, we did the mining, we did the support class. These are your main events. Faction Rep, Ship Parts, Freebooters, Mantis, Borg, Voyager / Scouts, Monavine, Borg Cube, Jemadar, Stella, Xindi Swarms. That's what I got left for grinds here. Now, I may do, in fact, I'll probably do at least 2 of these videos, including this one. I'm going to do this for low to high 50s because some of these loops you've already outgrown, but could be trying to finish 1 or 2 last things, or there is a little bit of, what do they call it, like the end game of the loop that you can get a little bit of stuff for, but not a whole lot. So probably low to high 50s here, and then intent on doing a low to high 40s and a, we'll say 20s to 30s would be one video because you can get through that real quick. At least should be able to by now anyway. All right. Yes, I have combined a few of them. I did number this list. First is obviously the best. 11th, which is where I'll start, is the worst and where I see less priority needed. And the title of the loop, my title anyway, is here in this blue. I did kind of debate on the color, but I think the blue turned out nice. At least it looks nice on my screen. See how it turns out on your screen. Okay, so number 11, you've heard me talk about it numerous times. Swarms. Swarms and the Franklin, they're essentially dead to me, especially in the high 50s here. May change a little bit for the lower levels, but freebooters really kind of took all that. You go kill your, 8 freebooters, you've done all your swarm dailies. And because of that, you don't need the Franklin. Therefore, what do you care about Franklin parts? You don't. It's not needed at all. Number 10, Xindi. Part of it because it's really new and it's not fully fleshed out yet. There's only been 2 months of this Enterprise, these Enterprise arcs. We assume we're going to get another one because, you take a look at the officers, right? 2 rare officers, Shran and T'Pol, mining. 1 ore, 1, what's Shran? Crystal? There's no gas one. You got to have a gas one. You can't, right? I guess technically they could do it with another officer, but it seems kind of silly for it not to be an Enterprise officer. And there's only 1 captain ability. Now, I get that Jonathan Archer is the captain, but as far as captain abilities go, you got to have another choice there, right? You got to have at least 1 more choice. It's probably going to be Malcolm Reed, the tactical officer. Who the hell else it would be? Maybe one of the bad guys. That Suliban bad guy, maybe. It's possible. But it's very new. Not fully fleshed out. And it's a slow grind as far as I'm concerned. A lot of the favors, yes, they're good, but it takes a while to get the parts. Unless you're going to spend for it, then maybe you can have it as a higher priority. But that's just my opinion. All right, 9th is Stella. You really should be in the low to high 50s. You should be done with all the Stella research. Yes, I understand some people power leveled and aren't done, but especially with some of the things added in this game over the past year, Stellar Loop can be sped up a lot more. It's a lot faster than it was back in my day. But yet, I was a lowly 23 or whatever when the Stella came out. I couldn't even build the dumb thing yet. But to a certain extent, you should, in my opinion, do something with this, because the Apex event, the weekly Apex event, can get you a few more badges weekly. So I do see a little bit of need there. 8th is going to be Jem'Hadar. For the most part, you should be done with all your Bajoran favors. They're moving a lot. They move a lot faster than these Zindi favors are moving. And you really should have, at least by now, because it's been over a year, Cisco and O'Brien should be maxed. So with the officers maxed, the favors maxed, what is there left? To keep the directives going, to keep some of those chest pools going, getting you some ship parts and materials is useful. And some transporter patterns because your officers are max. But still relatively high on this list because, or low, depending on how you look at it. 1, 2 runs, depending on how you like to do your pulls for your antimatter units. I do 2 runs, I guess. I mean, I do it at the same time because, 2 ships. But 2 runs for a week's worth of max pulls. You don't have to do max pulls. You can do a 2 chest pull, and you'll probably be able to get a week's worth with 1 ship. So, not much time and or effort in there for you right there. At least with the hostile grind. Number 7, I'm going with the Borg Cube. And I debated on whether this should be, we'll say lower on the list. Lower as in higher number, because just pretty annoyed with the way the Borg Cube is going. I don't think it's that good of a ship, not as much as it was built out to be, because the crew bonuses are so high. So will it be equal to the power of the ship you got right now? That ship that you have at tier 6, so you could get this tier of the Borg Cube? No, it's that the Borg Cube is not going to be strong. Because unless you're a huge whale, you're not going to get the crew bonuses. You're not. You're going to get to like 30, maybe 40% of the crew bonuses, because to max your crew bonuses, you need like 900 to 1,000 something for each stat. It's very unrealistic, in my opinion anyway. And it's not that good of a ship because the cutting beam is just weak as shit. It's weak. Oh, because you can do all your hostile grinding. Well, 1, there is a warp range issue there. My Sompek can get further out than the Borg Cube it can. So it can't grind as well with that, with the warp range. And the cutting beam. If I can't use the cutting beam, then I can't get the loots for the ship. So, hell do I care? Of course I can use the cutting beam, but those hostiles, it takes 4 stupid-ass cutting beams for. Yeah, that's terrible. But at the same point, it can be a relatively big ship for you. It's what? Depending on the crew I select, it can be my 4th biggest ship, but it's probably more closer to my 5th biggest ship, because I got my 3 G5 faction ships are all 3 bigger than the Borg Cube, and then there's my Talios. So it does kind of depend on the crew there. With the good enough crew bonuses, it can be bigger than the Talios. Without the crew bonuses, it won't be. But I don't need as many crew bonuses with the Talios. Alright, so Monaveen is number 6. And again, some of these, people are going to debate this because you can get a lot of resources with this Monaveen here. Some of it is going to depend on your level. The higher tier of your Monaveen, the more you're going to get. So I can see why people would want it higher higher on the list, I guess, up in direction here. Not higher number, but higher in direction. But as far as effort, I think it's relatively low effort because of the auto grind feature. Now, yes, you may have to send out multiple times in that 3-day time period to get your stretch goal chest. But that's really it. You hit the repair button, you hit the send back out button. Relatively low effort. Now, if people are blowing you up or people are killing your sentry asshole, okay, then you might have to have more effort into it. But not that much, in my opinion. Voyager is going to be number 5 for me. Do have Voyager / Scouts because definitely in the 50s, Voyager is what you should be using to get your messages. A lot of mini loops here because you got the Hirogen relics you got to get. You got the biotoxins from the bag of dicks you got to get. You got the rare anomaly samples. You got the common anomaly samples, which can be had by either killing hostiles or mining. And then you have faction messages. So what's that? 5 different currencies to manage? Wow. Okay. But to a certain extent, with one run, you can get many pulls with the Voyager here. So you go in, you use a few tokens, kill a bunch of the hostiles, mine a few things. You can get, now maybe not max pulls, but you can get several pulls worth of Hujuba anomaly samples, which are on a 5 and a 7 day cooldown. So if you can get 2 pulls, that's what, 2 weeks worth of rare stuff and 10 days worth of common stuff because it's a 5-day cooldown. So it's a little less effort because you don't have to do it every day. Now, with the biotoxins, yes, it is a 3-day thing, but with some of these new officers coming out for loot increase and incursions, the trick I showed you with the exo comp can get loot. I can and I have been getting almost an entire month's worth. Now that's like 10 pulls, really. 10 pulls worth of biotoxins in like, I want to say like maybe 30 minutes on the exocomp. So yeah, it's 30 minutes, maybe it's an hour, depending on how many times you want to do it. But it's like a month's worth of pulls, so it's like once a month you're doing that. So, and then the scouts, relatively the same way as the biotoxins, and then you got your Hirogen relics, which are a little harder, especially if you're doing max pulls, but higher tier Talios, more loot gain officers, because the Voyager's ability is really doing most of the work, so you can have a lot of loot gainers. Plus, if you do your trials, you can get that Borg, Alcove, Hujiba, what's it thing, and that will help as well, give you more critical hits, more loot, more, I don't even know how many more things the thing can do because I haven't leveled it up because I don't have the catalyst. Alright, so that was 5. Voyager was 5. Alright, on to the last 4 here. Now, I did think about moving Borg to number 1. And it's partly because, starting with number 4 here, 4, 3, 2, and 1, I do with my Talios. So, there's importance there. Because doing your Borg loop increases the strength of your Talios, can therefore use your Talios to grind Actian Venom, Freebooters, ship parts, faction reputation. Oh, spoiler alert there. Though, I assume you can read. Some of you are even looking at this video instead of not just listening to it, which I know some people do. So I did kind of think about moving the Borg up there, but it's number 4. Because I do think some of the other loot from these other loops are more important. Now, the refinery has lots of faction credit, lots of faction reputation in it. It's not that, I guess it's really not that much faction credit as I can get for all three factions every day, but it's really the independent credits. Big infusion of independent credits, at least in my tier. But if you're in the low to high 50s like this, it's going to be a lot for you. It's going to be 1,200 something a day, which is really good. And of course, Bolo Directives, which, fuels the Bolo Armada loop, Officer Shards, Fleet Commander, what's it shit, and some of these Armada events, like some of the ones that are going on now. I do think the Borg, and really, I guess the Talios is a really good loop. And the Talios can help you in other places because it's good for OPC hunting. So it has, in my opinion, it has some of the wider reaching of all the loops. Can touch more of the other loops than some of these other ones. But again, I don't think some of the rewards, other than the ship itself, are as good as, let's say, number 3, being Mantis, but really Actian Venom, because nobody uses a Mantis anymore because it's trash. Really what you're getting with the Actian Venom is the Syndicate XP. Syndicate XP is, I guess, as you read it right there, Syndicate XP is really the only thing here. You throw Tau, Giorgio, and 5 as captain on preferably your Talios because of its larger cargo, but if you're only rocking a Pilum or a Coronar or whatever ship it is, that's definitely going to get you more Actian Venom and therefore be able to fuel the refinery a little better. But that Syndicate, those Syndicate, what levels, tiers, reputation, I don't even know what to call the Syndicate, I guess, it does affect a lot of things in the game. Repair costs, repair time, hull health, shield health, damage, piercing, research speed, right? I honestly don't remember. Some of your daily chest claims from your dailies, the reputation, the resources, they'll get bigger with different levels of your syndicate. Your loyalty chests will get more rewarding. And there's also 2 officers, Mavry and Grush. Epic officers that, yes, it's kind of a long process, but you can get them for free, and they are really good. They have high stats. Why? And because of some of the, Syndicate Advancement events. Get a lot of Syndicate XP, and then maybe get at least 1 tier of Syndicate Advancement for free. Though I do understand that maybe it's not, Mantis and Actian Venom is not number 3 for everybody. But moving on. Number 2, freebooters / ship parts. I do really combine these here. Did think about not doing that, but really should. Partly why it is number 2. Freebooters takes care of several dailies, right? Your swarm dailies, your freebooter dailies, with the sweeps, it can take care of your faction dailies. Now, it's not going to do faction allegiance or hostile harbinger. Or is it going to do hostile harbinger? Yeah, it should do hostile harbinger, right? Shouldn't it? I don't even remember. Because I just, I do all the kill things and I, press the buttons. I don't even remember what it does. But it does shit tons of your dailies for you. And can get many different ship parts. Now, it's really Explorer, Interceptor, Battleship. You got to go somewhere else to get to survey ships, which kind of sucks. But it is what it is. Again, I use my Talios to grind in here. If I'm not killing too many Explorers, because the Talios is an Interceptor, I can get 200,000 easy in approximately 10 minutes, I think. 10, 15 minutes, which is kind of a quick grind in my opinion. So, freebooters number 2. Number 1, of course, faction reputation, ship parts. The ship parts here are really the survey. So kind of completes that loop. Faction reputation, most important since it's how you get access to the bigger faction ships. I mean, do you really want to play this whole game without getting some of these faction ships? Do you not want to get a Pilum? Do you not want to get any G4 rares with their loot increase ship ability? No, well, you can't get it without faction reputation. What are you going to do? Buy it? It's an option if you really want to buy it. It is. I don't recommend it. I recommend buying other things, but by all means, buy the faction reputation. And the survey parts, I mentioned that. Yeah. These bigger ships are going to fuel a lot of things. They're going to end up fueling some of this Zindi loop. They're going to fuel some of this Jem'Hadar shit. I guess that's really basically it here, but look, some of the mining loops, because you get access to bigger miners. Some of the armadas, actually a lot of the armadas, because that's how you're going to take down some of these bigger armadas. Bigger armadas, more armada credits. Seeing all the things you can get from these armada credits. Do you like armadas? I like armadas. Do you like kicking the shit out of really big armadas and getting shit tons of loot? Yeah, I like it, especially because I like the chests. And it is, what's the word for it? It is kind of a teamwork thing. Yeah, sure, everybody likes to go off solo and do their own thing for a little bit, but sometimes it's cool to take down a group target as a group. But you're going to need your big faction ships for that, and the only way to do that is reputation. So either buy it or grind it out. Number one for me. Number one and number two, those grinds for me, I do in about 30 to 45 minutes, probably closer to 30 minutes. That's a day. I do 1 and 2 in 30 to 45 minutes with my Talios. Part of the reason why I use the Talios, it does have faster warp speed than most faction ships. There are some faction ships that are, do have better warp speed. Also has better impulse speed. So faster in between each hostile. And more protected cargo than some of your faction ships. So if you do get blowed up, you get to keep all your stuff. You just get a free ride home, man. It makes it faster. I don't give a shit. When I go in the freebooter space, I got to kill like 8 targets. As long as I kill the 8 targets, I don't care that your dumbass comes in here and blows me up. I'll just go on somewhere else. Whatever. It's so funny how some people think, oh, I'm going to stick it to that rhino guy, that douchebag. I'm going to blow him up in freebooter space. Yeah. Okay, boss. However, alright, so to recap the list. Number 1, faction rep, ship parts. Number 2, freebooters, ship parts. Number 3, Mantis / Actian Venom. Number 4 is Borg, Talios mainly. Number 5, Voyager and Scouts. 6, Monavine. 7, Cube. 8, Jem'Hadar. 9, Stella. 10, Zindi. 11, Swarms. Number 1 being the best and where I think more priority should lie. And 11 where not that good and probably shouldn't worry about it too much. Whew. Alright, let's wrap this up. Get out of here. I guess that really was the summarization, wasn't it? Ha! Alright then. Comment below. What do you think of this list? You really think that the factions should be at the top? You got to get them big ships, right? Right? Do you agree? And yeah, by all means, comment on the rest of the list. Tell me where you think some of these should be ranked, if assuming you disagree. But by all means, say that you disagree, but please tell me why. Hey, maybe I'll agree with you. Be sure to like and subscribe. I am the Angry Rhino. Shields up, Commanders.